My styling journey started, gosh, 25 years ago. I can't believe it. I did an internship with Danny Santiago, who was a wardrobe stylist for MTV down in Miami. I was going to art school down there. It was a 2-year college. And I knew after I graduated college and I wanted to get into fashion and be really serious about that industry, I would have to move to New York. And New York has always been, a place that I would want to end up or live at some point in my life. And so I applied for an internship at Harper's Bazaar magazine, and I got accepted to work in the photo department. And that was where we produced all the photo shoots, booked the models, photographer, hair and makeup, studio, location, all of that stuff. Which is crazy because that's actually what I'm doing now. I do more than styling. I produce video and photo shoots here in Charleston.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I got offered while I was working there a job to work in the photo department, a position there, but I also got offered to assist a celebrity stylist. And so I really wanted to, be on location and working all the time. So I took the job as an assistant to the stylist, and we did a lot of big people. We worked with Janet Jackson and Christy Brinkley and Cindy Crawford and the Victoria's Secret girls and all kinds of stuff, big brands, high profile people. And after a year of working with him, it was kind of a devil wears Prada moment. I wanted to freelance a little bit and work with other people. And I ended up reuniting with Danny Santiago whenever he would come up to New York to do styling jobs there. And so we worked together with Jennifer Lopez on our first album cover for Premiere Magazine. We did some stuff for Prince, for Paper Magazine, the cast of Sex and the City. And so we did a lot of really fun shoots, and he was just such an amazing person to work with. He was my mentor for many years. And then eventually I ventured off to, have my hand on my own styling business as the key stylist. And so I did a lot of freelance stuff with music labels, with up and coming artists, advertising, editorial. And then I got married and fell in love and we decided that Charleston wasn't, or New York wasn't the end all. And we wanted to go to Charleston to create a life for ourselves.
Mhm.
Since I had family down here where I am now.
Yeah.
And we had a store on Upper King Street, which is kind of the main drag of shopping in Charleston. And then we opened up a sneaker boutique, and then the stock market crashed in 2008. So we closed both of those businesses. And I was so lucky and grateful to get a job as a costume buyer for Army Wives, which was a scripted TV series that was being filmed down here in Charleston. And I was a costume buyer for them for 2 years. And so I kind of dipped my toes into the styling pool again. I never thought I would get into styling again. And after I had my second child, I decided to do more freelance styling. So I was in the film business for a couple of years, got out of it. Just the schedule is very demanding, and I wanted to spend more time with my family. So I also started a blog at the same time, and no one was really doing blogs back then. Influencer was not a term that people were using.
Mhm.
And I just really wanted to highlight the local talent here, photographers, makeup artists, local brands, and local boutiques. And this past February, I rebranded. I was formerly Charleston shop curator for my blog. Now I'm just Andrea Serrano at andreaserrano.com. And I have expanded my services. I do more than wardrobe styling. I do production on photo shoots, which means that I hire and scout the talent, the locations, hair and makeup, models, photographers, videographers, all that kind of stuff. And as far as styling, it kind of varies. It's a pretty big scope of work. I do everything from working on set with models and talent to working one-on-one, doing personal styling, closet editing, and image consulting.
Oh, wow.
So that's it in a nutshell. I don't know how long that took me, maybe 5 minutes. I kind of condensed it all into that time, but that's who
That's
I
so
am. And I
cool.
just love working with people. It's a privilege for me to get to style any kind of person, whether it's a child to an adult, whether it's a person who has never been styled by a stylist or a model veteran. I just love the variety of all the kinds of people that I get to work with.
Yeah, so you do a mixture of like, I guess, regular people, and then also you dip in like you just have no limits. That's really cool.
Yeah, I like the
Um,
variety.
yeah, that is really cool. I can tell you're a people person. That I can totally see
I
that.
love people.
That's so funny. Well, that totally answers my question. How did you get into the industry? But what would you say was your like pivotal point in your career where you were like, this is where I'm supposed to be? Like, this is what I'm good at?
Gosh, I feel like it happens a lot. I would say 2020, I had to adapt, pivot, change all the things throughout my career. I've been doing this for 25 years. So to say that I still find joy and I love styling is a really big thing because every project, every person, every situation is different. And I love a challenge and I love working with all different kinds of people. I would have to say 2020 was a big year for me. It was a very challenging year. I know for a lot of people, it was my time to work on my business instead of in my business and kind of zoom out and just think about what I have to offer that's different than anybody else in my area and in my field. And I'm a multi-passionate person. I feel like, if you like doing many different things and they all kind of are interwoven together, why not do all of those things when it makes sense? So the blog and styling and logistics and producing all kind of go hand to hand. And I find my joy in that. So I would say last year was like the big aha year where I kind of, set out for this an umbrella business. And then I did a whole rebrand this past February. And it's crazy because when you just have this idea and you manifest it with no fear and no regrets and no reservations, that's when things start to open up, doors open up, people take notice. And it was just a very busy year. Actually, September
That's
to
awesome.
2020 was like the busiest year I had, month I had. And then continuing on to the spring has just been gangbusters.
That's really inspiring, especially I can tell you that's going to inspire a lot of people. I mean, I'm young, like you've literally been in the business like as I've been alive. Like that's how many I'm 24, but
Yeah,
that's
it's
inspiring to
crazy.
see that like you can do it all. And I'm married, so I'm like, okay, so if I have kids, I can still do it all. That's
Absolutely.
awesome. I did not guess you were a mom. Not that moms have a look. I just want to tell you that you look amazing.
Oh, thank
I was
you.
like,
I'll
oh,
take
she's
that.
my age. This will be so fun. We're gonna chat. And then you're like, I've been in the business for 25 years. And I was like, ah,
It's the
I
Filipino. I have that to thank for my mom,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, you have that glowy skin that doesn't age. That's so anyways, you look great.
Thank you.
Focusing.
Well, you're gorgeous too.
Thank you. Okay. So to anyone who's watching and
Mhm.
wanting to get into the beauty industry, what would be your piece of advice to like a newly graduated young
Mhm.
professional?
Okay, so as far as like any style, creative industry, whether it's beauty or fashion, I
Mhm.
would say get your feet wet and shadow someone, intern, assist. That is the biggest thing. I don't know. It would be such a struggle for me if I didn't have that experience and my mentors before me kind of showing me the way because there's so many ins and outs with fashion. It really is truly about networking. You've got to have your resources of where you're going to pull the clothes and the accessories and stuff like that. Thank God for the internet, right? There's so many
Uh-huh.
resources out there, but a lot of it for me is relationships because sometimes I'll pull clothing and accessories on loan and most stores won't let somebody off the street just leave with $10,000 worth of merchandise.
Yeah.
So it's about building trust and relationships and networking, and
Mhm.
you've got to start from somewhere. So I really think getting experience from assisting other people, professionals in the industry, is the best way to start.
Yeah, that's a good piece of advice. Okay. All right. Um, this is my favorite question. What is your favorite project that you've worked on?
There's so many. I think the ones that kind of stand out to me the most are the heartwarming projects that I've worked on with people who were not normally used to getting styled.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked with Walmart on a We Dress America campaign where I was one of 3 stylists in the nation to kind of host a pop-up at one of their stores.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the stores here in North Charleston, we had music and hair and makeup stations. And I had a whole rack of clothes that I curated and accessories and all different sizes for both men and women and kids. And everyday Walmart shoppers came by and they got their hair and makeup done. They got styled by
Oh,
me
that's
and they got to keep
cool.
their outfit. So they were super happy. I know it was like an
That's
ambush
awesome.
makeover.
Where was I when this was going on? What the
And there was
heck?
some really cute stuff. And so for me, it's the heartwarming projects that I worked on, have worked on, has been the most gratifying. And I have another project coming up. This is the 3rd year I'm doing it. I'm hosting the Pink Promenade, which is a breast cancer awareness fashion show. And all of the models are breast cancer survivors. And
Oh,
that's pretty amazing to work with people who, some of them are still struggling with breast cancer and still getting chemo. And some of them who almost didn't make it, but are still alive today is touching. I mean, how could you not be moved by that moment? So
yeah.
for me to have the opportunity to be so close, physically intimate with someone and helping them to feel comfortable and confident in what they're wearing and do something that they've never done before, like walk a runway, is pretty amazing. So
Wow.
I understand now after all of this time, I have the power to empower.
That's awesome. I love to hear that like a woman in the industry is going back and empowering other women, no matter like how big or small that effect is. It's awesome. Um, so why did you want to become a stylist for StyldLife?
So, like I said before, I love people, seeing people at living and looking their fullest potential, their best self.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes I take it for granted and it takes me like 5 minutes to get dressed, 10 minutes to put on my makeup and stuff. But there are people who struggle in the
Uh-huh.
morning and that kind of affects, struggles getting ready and they have decision fatigue and I'm nervous because this is a job interview or I'm starting a new school or whatever occasion they're getting ready for the day. I want to help that person feel confident and look their best and feel their personal best.
I love
I want
that.
people to live their fullest potential.
Yeah, that's so true. Because I'm a like a planner, so I pick out my outfit the night before. But on the days I don't, I'm in a bad mood the because I'm like
Yeah.
scrambling and I'm like, ugh, and it just puts you, it does kind of put you in a little bad mood. And then you're like, I threw this outfit together. I don't feel cute. Like it affects your whole day. That is a good point. I never thought about that.
It really does. You've got to
Yeah.
feel comfortable with yourself, and it starts on the inside and it comes out. People notice that confidence or they notice the uncomfortableness.
Yeah, that's very
Mhm.
true. So, what is your favorite fashion or beauty trend right now? It can be either, but I would prefer
Gosh, you know
fashion.
what? Yeah. Since I've lived through so many beauty trends every year, I feel like it's the same ones who that keep on coming up and coming
Oh,
up.
yeah.
And I think the biggest theme that I've seen over the most recent years is just inclusivity. It's not about having a certain body type and dressing for that body type. It's about,
Mhm.
if skinny jeans look great on you, great. If wide-legged jeans look great on you, great. I do think that, a higher waist jean is a little better for most body types than a low waist jean, and
Uh-huh.
sometimes those kind of skew with the trends and stuff. I think it's really funny that the 90s are back and they have been back because when I was living in the 90s, it was like something like, I don't know. I didn't think it was like a trend or something that would be trending 20 years later. But as they say, fashion always, there's a cycle of 20 years.
Yep.
So, now it's like, I guess the early 2000s that are trending right now.
Oh,
But I would say, I don't really follow trends. I follow my instinct. And I think that people should think about that as well because it's so easy to look at Instagram, look on websites and be like, oh my gosh, I love what she's wearing, but I can't pull it off and I don't have the body type. And
Mm-hmm.
because there are so many inclusive platforms and influencers out there, it's easy to relate to a curvier girl, someone who
Yeah.
is taller or someone who is shorter, someone who is more busty. So I would say, just Pinterest is my best friend, and
Yeah.
I definitely scroll through Instagram and I have my favorites that I follow and everything. So I would say, as far as trends go, for me, they kind of go out the window sometimes.
Yeah, that's crazy. I literally was talking about this on my blog post the other day because I'm taller and curvy. So I was talking about
Yeah.
how like I don't waste my time looking at trends because they just won't fit me, you know, and that's okay. And
Yeah.
then I was talking about like the people that we love and follow on TikTok wear kind of like they have a set style and they wear what's in there, what
Mhm.
works for them. And I'm like, that's like what we
Yeah.
think about the most stylish people, but they're not doing anything special. They're just catering to themselves instead of what's going on. So that is, I totally agree with
Exactly.
that. I just never thought inclusivity would be a trend in fashion,
Mm-hmm.
especially growing up
Yeah, it's
because
all
I'm like
about
an early
individuality.
2000s kid. So like the 90s model body is like, and now I'm like, oh, maybe I could be a model because I'm tall and I'm curvy and that's okay now. I never thought about that as a trend.
Yeah.
That's an amazing point. All right, last but not least, what is the best beauty or fashion tip that you've ever received?
Beauty tip would be keep it simple. I think, especially for nowadays, I almost think the more makeup that you wear could age you. And maybe that's something that you want if you are in your 20s. For me, I'm in my 40s. So I feel like less is more. I think it's about healthy, dewy skin, having a fresh face. I always have to have my eyebrows done. I always have to wear mascara and a little highlighter and bronzer, because I just feel like you look better when you have a tan
Yeah.
for some of us.
Oh, that's
And yeah, and I don't even think about it, but yeah, I wash my face, morning and at night. I'm definitely not someone who sleeps in their makeup. I just have to like feel clean and get everything off of my face. And I recently heard, I don't know how true this is, but when you don't take makeup off of your face, before you go to sleep, it ages you like years. Because think about
whoa.
all of that stuff that's just sitting on your face,
Uh-huh.
and your skin is regenerating at night and it doesn't have time to regenerate new cells if there's a bunch of gunk on it.
Mm-hmm.
So just that, that's a huge tip for me, is to definitely wash your face every night. So I keep on doing that. Fashion tip, I think we kind of went over that, is wear what makes you feel comfortable and confident.
Mm-hmm.
I am someone who, I do like structured things, but then I like loose things too. Maybe that's the stylist in me. I can appreciate all styles. But the biggest thing for me is wearing fabric and clothing that feels good on me, that's tactile. If something looks good on a hanger, but doesn't necessarily feel good on me, like fabric wise or fit, I will not wear it, or it'll just sit in my closet. And who wants clothing that they're just, looking at their closet, not wearing? So I would say, just look for clothing that makes you feel good and fits your lifestyle. You don't want to also buy a lot of clothing that you're never going to wear. Of course,
That's
you want occasional dresses, but how many, unless that is your profession, how many black tie dresses do you need in your closet? Maybe you
mhm.
need more athleisure in your closet. Just depends on your lifestyle.
Oh yeah. Well, those are all of the questions that I have. Thank you so much, Andrea, for your time and your insight. I'm so excited for this
Yeah,
video. I'll send it to
me
you when it's
too.
completed, but I'm really excited. It was so fun talking to you. I'm obsessed with your page, your website, amazing. So the
Oh,
rebranding, I just
thank
want to
you.
say, love
Yay! I feel like
it.
I'm constantly rebranding because I have like new content coming out. I've got like a bunch of projects I've got to put on there. But thank you so much for taking the time to check out my website. It really means a lot.